friends, Lori here. I'm back to start another reading vlog. So this one was not planned this month, but OwlCrate decided to do its OwlCrateathon, and I am woefully behind on OwlCrate books. So I decided to take this on my opportunity and to kind of pick about 6 books. I doubt I'm going to read them all. I know I probably won't, but I do want to make an effort, especially because I've been reading on my Kindle so much this month, which has been a goal for 2021 for me, but I just feel like I've read so much on my Kindle and my Nook, so I want to actually add some physical books to my read list so I can actually whittle down my physical TBR a little bit. I know that they normally have challenges, but I'm just sort of pulling 6 of my ones I'm most intrigued by on my list. And then we will kind of go from there, and I'm just going to do a random number generator. I know before the end of the week, I do have to read Goddess in the Machine, because that is that's like a Time Warp YA book club book, but I'm just going to show you guys the 6 books that I have, and then I'll do a random number generator, and then we'll sort of talk about this week, because it's a little bit of a fun week. So the first book I actually got from my library. Sorry, there's the bookmark on top of it. But it is Cinder and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. I don't remember which month this was, but this is a middle grade mystery adventure story. And yeah, my library had it. I decided to pick it up. And I hope I get around to reading it, because it actually has to go back to the library soon. But that's the first one that's on this TBR. So this will be book 1 if it gets chosen. Sorry, I'm going to put them in like a pile so they don't get lost. The next one is The Apprentice Witch by James Nichol. This was like a couple of years ago at this point, but I actually got a paperback from the Strand Bookstore for like $3.50. So I actually do have the sequel somewhere. Again, it's super short. I've also been reading ridiculously long books recently, so I'm trying to sort of like lessen my length, because I read like 2 500-page books recently. Also, The World's Greatest Detective by Caroline Carson. This is like I actually got this directly from OwlCrate Jr. because I really liked the concept, but this is like a mystery thriller for the YA set with a Sherlock Holmes twist. I have a lot of middle grade books that I have not read. Also, Gilded Wolves is the recent one by Namia Forna, and I really hope that I get to read this one because I'm really excited for it. And I've heard great things about it. And then this is one that I physically bought. This was actually their January book, Amari and the Night Brothers. I really hope that I get to read this one. I'm also trying to read books that I actually buy in a quicker fashion. And then the last book is the one for the Time Warp YA Book Club, and that is Goddess in the Machine, which is their science fiction debut. I think it was July or August. I feel like it's July. The sequel's actually coming out, so I want to get a move on this one. So I'm going to go do my random number generator. We'll talk about the books that I'm going to read, that I picked first, and then we will dive into it. Bye, guys. See you guys in like a couple of minutes. Story, I actually wound up picking up Goddess in the Machine by Lori Johnson. I know that this is a science fiction story. It follows a girl named Andra who was set into a cryogenic sleep, but wound up waking up so many years into the future. Everyone she knows has died, and she is sort of viewed as like, I think she's sort of viewed as like a goddess, I think, by everybody. And then you have an exiled bastard, and I guess they kind of decide to team up, and then there's a monarch that's sort of planning on tearing the city apart. This is not that long. This is about 400 pages. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into this one. I'm also in the middle of listening to 2 books. I'm in the middle of listening to my nonfiction read, which is How to Be an Anti-Racist, which I'm really liking. I'm actually going to try to tackle a little bit more of that today. And then also I am listening to Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn. I'm a good amount of way into both of those, so I'm probably going to wind up picking up some other audiobooks this week. I don't know what they're going to be. I might just try to pick up the audiobook of Bitter Blue by Kirsten Kishore. I might pick up another OwlCrate book. We will see. But the first physical read I'm going to start with is Goddess in the Machine, and I'm going to hope to finish a good chunk of this book today. I am also going to head to yoga. I'm also want to give you guys a little bit of an entertainment update. I did wind up watching the Billie Eilish documentary for a second time after I listened to all her music, and I thought that it was a really, really good documentary. I have a few music documentaries on my list that I do want to watch. I never really listen to music, and I'm going to kind of try to change that because I think it's just relaxing and it's less stressful. So yeah, I really am liking that. But I am going to go get ready to go to yoga. It's not that cold. I hope it's not that cold. But when I come back, I'll give you guys an update on my audiobook. I think I'm going to try to tackle a little bit of How to Be an Anti-Racist, which I'm just reading from my anti-racist education. Yeah, so I will check in with you guys when I'm back and let you know if I made any progress or got us in the machine. Sort of a luck shoot. If I get there super early, I tend to read a little bit before class, and if I don't, I don't. So, see you guys in a few hours when I come back from yoga. Bye, guys. Here I'm back. It's about 12 o'clock. I did actually want to barely starting. Got us in the machine. I read about a page, so actually 4 pages. So really didn't read a lot physically. I did read a little bit, quite a bit actually, because I'm listening on double speed of How to Be an Anti-Racist by Kendi, I think is his last name. Really interesting, very, very informative. And I'm liking his point of view quite a bit. I read a book early in quarantine, I called The White Supremacy Handbook, and their point of views are super different, and I'm just liking kind of coming up with my own point of view, kind of, and I'm going to listen to a couple more as the year goes on, but really enjoying it. Definitely an interesting point of view. I really like, I'm just liking his voice a lot. I'm liking how he really is telling it more of a storytelling, but there is a lot of messages in it. I'm going to watch one more episode of Big Bang Theory and try to read a little bit more of Goddess in the Machine, and when I read probably about 30 pages, I'll give you guys an update. I don't know much about it. I know that she is coming out of a cryogenic sleep. That's all I know of. So I'm going to read a little bit more, and then I'll give you guys an update when I feel like I know a little bit more about the story. Right now, it's the only thing I know. Hope you guys in a bit. Slurry here, I'm back. It's about 1:20. I did wind up reading about 36 pages in Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. Definitely what I expected, especially reading the summary. But there is a 2-person character. I haven't gotten to the second person's head yet. But the first person is you follow a girl named Andrea, and she was in cryogenic sleep. She was meant to go away from the United States to this new planet because her world was sort of dying. Her mother was very involved in the science elements, and she is trained to be a sciencey person, working in STEM, but she really is interested in writing and words. That's like her thing. But when she wakes up, she's on this planet she has no idea of. It's called the Helmut. That's how it's spelled. And it's just so interesting because whenever I see the Helmut, I always think of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But she is sort of trapped in this place with no idea what is going on. She lost 1,000 years of her life. Her family's all dead. She's a little bit isolated. There's definitely a lot of cultural differences between her and these people that she's encountering. And they are convinced she is a goddess. They are convinced that she can save their planet or their society because she's a goddess. And what she thinks is the other goddesses they are aware of are people that also came from her civilization. And there's a young man character that is sort of helping her. It's really interesting. Like, it's been a bit since I've read science fiction. The last science fiction book I read was the Aurora Rising and Aurora Burning series, and I really like that one as well. So I'm gonna read a bit more. We're about to head into the soldier's point of view, and I'm gonna learn a little bit more about him. But I like Andrea as a character definitely right off the bat, and it's just like a very, very fast-paced read. I've only read about 30 pages, but I really am enjoying it. So I'm gonna read another like 30 pages, and then I'll give you guys another check-in. Also, YouTube queue update. I have about 23 videos left to watch, which is not as much as my normal 100, so that's pretty good. But yeah, I will update you guys when I read a little bit more. Also, when I read another about 30 pages, I'm probably going to go work out, and then I'll update you guys again. Bye. Sorry, here I'm back. I did wind up working out a little bit. I watched a couple more YouTube videos, which means I'm getting down my YouTube queue. I only have 22 left, which is actually not that bad, and a couple are like super short videos. But I did wind up reading about 70 pages. It's definitely getting interesting. I think the one thing I like about this book is you have Andrea's character who is new to this whole thing, so you kind of go into her point of view and you feel like you're on the same page with her, and then you go into Zam's, I think that's how you say his name, Zan's point of view. Is that what it is? Zaid, I guess you would say, Zaid. And he's like very familiar with this world, and also there's a lot of dialect and like word, you have to do a little bit of context clues when you read Zaid's point of views, because his way of speaking is just a little bit different, but I am really enjoying it. I'm just curious where it's gonna go. Like, I know she's very, very confused, so I want to like know a little bit more about what's going on, but they still think she's a goddess. I don't know. I think it's more has to do with the technology, I'm assuming. But I'm definitely intrigued. Like, it's reading a little bit more like not science. I mean, I know it does have science fiction elements, but this element of it is not science fiction to me. It's more like Aryan society and like a desert and stuff like that. So I'm finding that to be interesting. I know that there's supposed to be a prince character that's present, and it gets a little bit more political as the book goes on. So I'm going to keep reading, and I will update you guys when I read to about page 125 probably. Talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Sorry, hair just checking back in. It's about 4:24. I'm probably going to go figure out dinner eventually. But I wound up getting up to page about 100 in Goddess in the Machine. I'm really intrigued by this book. I'm equally intrigued because it's a the two point of views are like night and day. And the way that Zaven and the other characters that are not the lead girl talk is very interesting. And I feel like I'm missing a lot because they talk and I'm not sure what some of the words mean, and it's like sort of like you're talking to someone who speaks a totally different language. So I'm still kind of deducting, but we did learn a lot more about his character, and he is the bastard son of the king. He has been banished. He was sent to find the goddess. He found her, or he thinks he found her. I'm still unclear if she actually is the goddess, but they think she's the goddess because of a couple of reasons. And he's kind of using her as a pawn to get what he wants. And it's a cross between a magical world, but also like a science fiction-y world, which I think is super interesting. There's a lot of characters in this book, which is something that as a reader, I really enjoy. And I really love Andrea's point of view, because she is from this very, very technical society, and that is what everyone wants her to be, but she is much more a linguist and likes words and reading. And every start of the chapter starts off with like a little like a word, which some of them like we know, but some of them are a little bit more attuned to the society. I'm really intrigued by it. Like, I really like it. I haven't read science fiction in quite a bit. I actually have Sanctuary on my TBR, and that is the group book for the Avengers Reading Challenge that I do. So I might actually wind up reading that as well to just kind of keep up. I'm finally catching up on all my YouTube videos. I only have 17 left, and sometimes I'm a little bit farther behind on their group books. And the book from last month that they read Slay, I actually already read that. So, but I really am intrigued. Like, I'm definitely reading it quickly. I like both characters. I think I really like Andrea's point of view just because I feel like I could follow it, and she's kind of lost in the world and I'm kind of lost in the world. So definitely do like that, but I do like Zaven as a character. I think that's sort of interesting, and I like that we get both their point of views. But I'm intrigued. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, go figure out what I'm going to have for dinner, and then I'm going to come back. After dinner, I'm going to do a few little prep stuff for tomorrow, because tomorrow we're heading back to work. I'm heading back to work, commuting, and all that other fun stuff. So I want to set up a few things, do my journaling and that stuff, and I will probably listen to a little bit of Billie Eilish while I'm doing that. That's what I think I'm going to do when I journal. I think I'm going to just put on like some music, which is something that I don't normally do, but I really am liking that CD. I also do want to try to watch the Grammys tonight, because two of the artists that I've been listening to a lot the past couple of months or like weeks are nominated. So I'm going to go get some dinner, figure out what I'm going to do food, do some of my R&D stuff, and then when I get up to like 1:50, I'll probably give you guys another update. Bye. Sorry, here I'm back. I just wound up taking a shower. I did wind up my R&D stuff. I got ready for work. I picked my next book. Yeah, I am about to go start A Goddess in the Machine again. I also have 17 YouTube videos to still watch. I do want to try to tune into the Grammys tonight, especially because Billie Eilish and Taylor Swift were nominated for things, and I would like to see if they win. But that is a goal for later, because it's only like almost 6 o'clock here. So I'm going to read a little bit more of Goddess in the Machine. I did wind up getting up to page 100 about, which is pretty good. I'm reading it pretty quickly. I think the world is really interesting. Like, it's kind of a mix of science fiction, but also like some fantasy elements. And I'm just going to keep reading. I'm also going to make my way through my YouTube videos. I'm on Alexa and Mackey's. They're about to talk about Chain of Iron, which I just finished, which I'm really excited about. So I'm going to go do that, and I will check in with you guys when I read about 25, if I feel like I have something else to say, like maybe like 25 or 50 pages in. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Laurie here, checking back in. It is about 7:13. I wound up getting up to page 132 and got us in the machine. I really do like the structure of this. I think that the two characters are really, really opposites, their point of views, and I feel like it's a nice balance to have a character that is more along my lines where I know nothing about the world, but then a character that is very, very deep in the political world, and their interactions are super interesting. There's also a lot of political stuff in this book that I am liking, and also just the world in general. I think it's a nice mix between fantasy and also science fiction elements, and just a lot of like mystery elements. I'm really curious like what's going to happen in this book. There's definitely a major plot that she wants to get out of this place. She wants to get out of this society that she's in, but she doesn't really know where she wants to go because she's sort of isolated. All the people she knows died about 1,000 years ago, so that's sort of an interesting concept. Reminds me a little bit of the Aurora Rising series when that character sort of lost everybody. But yeah, I am liking it. I'm liking that there's a goddess element. I haven't really read anything like that recently. Normally, stuff I read is like actual, like, you know, the one thing I've read that was sort of like that was Warrior in the Wild by Trisha Levisera a couple of years ago that had like another like goddess-like presence that was a little bit contrived. But I think the world is the most interesting because it's sort of a mix between fantasy and science fiction, which I am enjoying. But yeah, I'm going to read a little bit more. I am going to watch the Grammys tonight. I said that before. But yeah, I'll probably update you guys when I get up to like about 150. I would love to get to page 200 before the end of today. So then I think I will be solidly on my way to read more books for this readathon that I've ever read for the OwlCrate readathon. But I'm going to read a little bit more and then I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Laurie here, sorry. I look a little bit disheveled. I just took a shower and my hair looks like I didn't brush it, which I didn't. But I just wound up getting home from work. I should get home a little bit earlier today than I normally did because the train they've been adjusting the train since COVID began, and now they're adding back trains that they took away at the start of COVID. So I've been getting home so much earlier than I normally do, and I'm getting home like a good 2.5 hours earlier from work, which is amazing. But I did want to do a little bit of a reading update. I did wind up getting up to page 172 in Goddess in the Machine. My goal was 120. Missed it by a little bit. But really liking this book. This book is a very, very nice mix of like fantasy, science fiction, with a couple of other elements tossed in. I'm really liking both characters. There's a lot of interesting language stuff that she's doing, and I think she's pointing it out in a really effective way. Really liking that. I also finished How to Be an Anti-Racist, which I thought was so good. I really, really liked it. Definitely want to check out his other books. He has quite a few out that I definitely want to pick up, but I finished that, which is great. I'm going to spend a little bit of time. I have to update some gift cards, and I've been contemplating getting Spotify for like 5 years. Well, okay, however long it's existed, and I just am finally just going to break down and get it. I just want to listen to some more music and find some bands that I'm really interested in. And it's been a bit, like, all of my bands that I listened to, like, when I was younger have either stopped making music or I just don't know that they're still making music. And in the past, like, 3 to 4 months, I've just started listening to bands randomly. Like, I started listening to Billie Eilish. I started listening to Taylor Swift. So I just want to, like, get a few more songs and just start listening to music a little bit more, especially, like, on my train rides when it gets a little bit noisy and I can't listen to my podcast or my audiobooks. And I just want some new music. I really am liking all the music I'm finding, but I want to branch out a little bit, and I think Spotify is the place to do that. So I'm going to go do that. I also am going to go pick, I think my next nonfiction read that I'm going to pick up is the Jill Biden memoir after she lost her son, Beau. And I'm really interested in that. It's another book that's high on my TBR. I bought it, so I'm thinking it's going to be my next one. But once I figure out Spotify and all that, and I read a little bit of Goddess in the Machine, I'm going to give you guys an update. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. It's Laurie here, I'm back. So I ended up reading exactly 200 pages in Goddess in the Machine. This book, I'm really unsure how to classify this book. I'm intrigued. Like, it definitely took a turn in the middle of this book that I might think may change the genre of it, but it's still very, very futuristic. I don't want to give away a plot point, like giving away like too far into the book, but I'm really intrigued. It's a very, very political focused story. There's a lot of elements, a lot of side plots, both two very, very strong characters. I'm really enjoying it. I also really like her writing style and the way she's incorporating language into it. It's really, really fun. I've read about 200 pages. I'm going to try to read like another 50 pages. Surprisingly, yesterday I had no ill effects from the time change, but today I do. I'm just a little bit tired. I also did go back to work today, and I was running errands and stuff like that. So I am going to read another like 50 pages because I want to see what the twist kind of happened to the story, because I kind of left it up on a little bit of a cliffhanger. I also did get up to part 3, which is called Judas's Kiss. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really intrigued. I really like it. I've never read a story quite like this before, and that's why I kind of like OwlCrate sometimes. They sort of just give you books that I don't think I would have read necessarily on my own. I was given an ER copy of this, but I just really like it. I'm intrigued. So I'm going to keep reading. My goal is to read at least 50 pages before I stop reading for the day. I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to read 50 pages at the end of every single workday when I come home, and then just let myself like relax. But I do want to get into the habit of reading, not directly before bed, but like a little bit more before bed. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to read about 50 more pages, and then I'll give you guys another check-in. Bye. Right here, it's about 8 o'clock. I did wind up reading to page 218. So I did make my goal of reading about 50 pages after work, which is good. This book definitely has a lot of twists and turns. I'm really enjoying it. There's a lot of characters in this book too, and the writing style is really interesting. I'm curious to see where the book goes. There's a lot of elements that are happening. There was a massive plot twist about midway through the book, which I did not see coming. Still really enjoying it. I think it's a fun read. I really like the characters. I like the dual point of view. And we're getting a bunch more side characters, which is something that I really do like in my stories. I just like a big cast of characters that you feel sort of invested in. So I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow, and hopefully by the next time you see me, I will have read a good chunk of this. I hope by the time I'm home tomorrow, I will have read to at least page 300. And then, yeah, so I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for another update. Bye. Right here, I'm back. It is about almost 6 o'clock. I did wind up coming home. I wound up doing a little bit of reading on my commute and such. I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in. I did wind up getting up to page like 268 in Goddess and the Machine. It's a very, very unique book. I will say that. I don't think I've ever read anything quite like this before. There's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of characters. Overall, I'm really enjoying it. I'm just curious, like, where the book's going. It's like another plot book that, like, I don't necessarily anticipate what the end's going to be, because there's a lot of elements happening. So I'm going to check in with you guys when I get up to page 300 and just sort of see how I'm feeling. I definitely would like to try to finish it today, because since this is a readathon, I'm trying to read a little bit more than I normally do. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I want to get a little back into the story. So I will update you guys when I get up to page 300, and we'll sort of chat through what I have been reading, but I'll see you guys in a little bit. Bye. This book definitely packs quite a punch. It sort of reminds me a little bit of reading a CJ Redwine book, because she just sort of punches you in the emotions a lot in this book. We're in the last 100 pages. This book is super complicated. This is a book that has a lot of unexpected twisted turns, really hard to predict. The world is super unique and different, and Andrea is just a really different type of character, and I'm really liking her point of view. I'm also liking Zane's point of view. There's a lot to be had in this last 100 pages, so I'm going to read about 50 more pages, and I'll give you guys an update. Will admit, one of the part really, like, teared me up, and I don't normally cry when I'm reading books, but there was a character I really, really liked, and he was put in a very, very bad situation. But really enjoying it. I'm going to read another 50 pages, and then I'll give you guys another check-in. Bye, guys. Laura here, I'm back. I do end up doing a few little things tomorrow. I do have parent-teacher conferences, so I'm just starting to organize everything. But I did wind up making some reading progress. So I did wind up finishing Goddess and the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. This is the first book that I completed for the OwlCrate Readathon. I have to admit, the ending did surprise me. This book overall did not wow me. It's very, very science fiction light. I saw some of the plot twists coming in like the middle of this book. The ending did surprise me though. I thought there was some elements of this book that was super surprising. I like the pacing. I like the characters. I like the side characters. Some of the plot twists I thought was a little bit predictable, but I am definitely going to check out book 2 because I'm intrigued enough to keep reading. I also listened to a little bit more of To Sir Philip with Love, which I read like about a chapter of. I spent most of the day listening to a longer podcast. But I also did start The World's Greatest Detective, which is by Caroline Carlson. This was an OwlCrate book I got a couple of years ago. But it has to do with like a mystery element. Follows a girl named Toby, and he's living with his uncle after his parents, I think they died, or like they just sort of vanished. The parents think that they died. He thinks his parents died. So he's kind of been tossed around from family to family, and he kind of winds up with this last uncle that will take him. And if he can't stay with his uncle, then he's going to go into foster care. And his uncle is a detective, and he's sort of down on his luck. He's not getting a lot of jobs. And Toby sort of wants to help him. And there's a detective competition that his uncle's not going to join. And I think Toby's going to kind of take up the mantle. But it's really, really cute. I read about 44 pages. I also am going to go to my my Millennium Club meetup, which I'm really excited for. I fell asleep during the last one, and I was really, really bummed about it. So I'm going to try to stay up and actually, like, go to it and not fall asleep. But I am in the middle of watching Big Bang Theory. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to read and sort of read The World's Greatest Detective, and then I will probably update you guys. This might be a 2-part reading vlog, just depends on how long it gets to be, but I'm probably not going to update you guys much tomorrow because I have parent-teacher conferences tomorrow, but we will see. All right, I'm going to go read a little bit of The World's Greatest Detective, and when I get up to page about 100, I'll probably give you guys another update. Bye. Sorry, for my hair looks a little bit nuts. I just walked home and it's made my hair like all crazy, but I did wind up, sorry I didn't update yesterday. I had parent-teacher conferences. And then today was just a busier day at school because we had the second half of parent-teacher conferences, so I didn't have to teach all day, but it was just a lot of phone calls. That's why my voice sounds a little bit hoarse, because I definitely talked a lot to parents, which happens during parent-teacher conferences. But I did wind up reading a little bit more of The World's Greatest Detective by Caroline Carson, I think. This is an OwlCrate Jr. book. It definitely did dive more into the mystery elements. I wasn't expecting them to be solving like a real case. I thought it was going to be something different, but I'm really enjoying it. You also have two characters who are on opposite sides of the life sides of it. It's definitely a historical fiction novel. It's set in the past. It's not specific when in the past, but they are in the past. And you follow this young boy who basically wanted to join this competition to see who's going to be the greatest detective, and then that competition kind of falls off the rails when a real case comes into play. And he meets this girl named Ivy who sort of lives at the hotel where the thing is taking place, and now they're kind of teaming up together to solve this mystery that's happening. I really am liking it. It's super cute and super fun. But yeah, I'm on about 204, and the book has like 350 pages, so I'm going to try to read a little bit more tonight. I'm also watching a Brothers Trust episode with Tom Holland, who just is a gem. So I'm going to read a little bit more, and when I get up to page like, when I read about 50 more pages, I will give you guys an update. Bye. Right here, it's about 6:10. I did wind up reading another 50 pages in The World's Greatest Detectives. I'm really liking this. It's very, very fun. It's been a bit since I read some middle grade, and it's just so lighthearted. I really love mysteries. I love Sherlock Holmes. I love mystery stories, and it's been a bit since I've read one of those either, so it's just a fun read. I really like Toby as a main character. I think he's super fun. I like that there's a bunch of side characters in this story. There's also an animal. I have a thing about animals in stories. As long as they're not in harm, I'm normally a fan. But I'm really, really liking it. Quite cute. So I'm going to read another 50 pages, and then I will give you guys another update. But it's very, very fun. The twists and turns are coming. It's a very, very fun mystery, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. And sorry, here I'm back. I did wind up reading about 50 more pages in The World's Greatest Detective, and I wound up getting up to page 307. Really am liking this book. I'm right at the tail end. I'm at the last part. Some mysteries have been revealed. There's been a lot of elements. There's the police people have become involved, and always in Sherlock Holmes mysteries, they never do their job very correctly. So it's very, very similar to that. I just really am enjoying it. It's quite fun. I said earlier in a clip, I haven't really read a lot of middle grade this year, so this one is just putting a smile on my face. I'm really, really liking it. But I am going to go get a quick snack, and then I think I'm going to finish it, and then I'm going to probably wrap up this reading vlog and figure out what I'm going to read for the weekend. I'll probably do a weekend reading vlog because I don't have a lot of things to do this weekend. But I will talk to you guys when I'm done with The World's Greatest Detective. Bye guys. It's Larry here. I am back. So sorry for my weird angle. I did wind up finishing The World's Greatest Detective by Caroline Carlson. I actually end up really liking this one. I think I would probably give it like 3.5 stars or even 4. I like the characters. I like the elements. I like how it sort of had sort of the structure of a mystery novel, but for kids. I thought it had all of the elements. I like the setting. I like the characters. I like the side characters. I thought it was great. It was a super fast-paced read, and I read it really, really quickly. So I might split this reading vlog into 2 parts. It just sort of depends on how much footage I have, and if I do split it into 2 parts, I will do the start of that reading vlog like later. But what I'm just I'm just in the mood to read some more middle grade, and this is the OwlCrate Readathon, so I figured I would pick up 2 other OwlCrate books. I have a couple of other ones, but I'm just in the mood to read some more middle grade. So I'm gonna start with Cinder and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. This was like, I feel like this was like September or November, one of their books. And this is a fantasy novel. It's about a girl named Zita who's an orphan who's got information that she wound up inheriting a castle, and I think it has a witch at the heart of it. This one I'm really excited for. I picked this up from my library, and I'm normally terrible at reading library books. So this is the one I'm going to start with. And then the next one is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Elston. I've heard incredible things about this book. Like, so many good things. People have said it's going to be the Harry Potter for the next generation. And I don't always think that those comparisons are helpful to book series, but I am intrigued to keep reading it, and I would love to pass this on to my students. It's also a book that I recently bought, so I am going to read both of these hopefully this weekend. But yeah, I'm really excited. So I did start watching Cherry last night with Tom Holland, which is a movie that I am really liking. Very, very hard watch though, I will say that. And I'm also watching Big Bang Theory. So what I think I'm going to do is I am going to read about 20 pages of Cinder and Sparrows and give you guys like a little bit of an update. I want to finish the Big Bang Theory episode that I'm watching. But when I read a little bit of this, I will give you guys an update. Bye. Right here. I do plan on reading about 12 pages of Cinder and Sparrows, but I do have a big day tomorrow. I'm not going to yoga tomorrow, which is what I normally do, but I do have to do a bunch of filming for the end of the month. I want to like film a few videos. I do have off the last week of the month, so I want to start, when I have that week off, I want to do some pre-filming for April. So I'm going to do a bunch of filming tomorrow and organizing and cleaning. I always do that on Saturday anyway, so that's going to be my plan. I also do want to make some progress on my audiobook. I am listening to Sir Philip with Love, which has been my audiobook all week, but I also got Spotify this week, and I've been listening to some older songs, including Billie Eilish, so I want to focus on that. But I'm going to go finish watching my episode of Big Bang Theory, do a news check-in, which is what I do every single night, and then I'm probably going to watch Winter Soldier, the new episode that just popped out because it's a new show, and I'm probably going to finish watching Cherry with Tom Holland in it. But I will check in with you guys tomorrow, and I will talk about what's going to happen tomorrow and what I'm going to film. But I want to film a few videos, do some organizational stuff. I didn't do it tonight. I will do it tomorrow, though. So I will check in with you guys tomorrow. But I did read about 12 pages in Cinder and Sparrows, and I did a little bit of research, and this is a witch book, and it's an autumn read. So I think it will be a really, really good read. So I'm excited, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. Larry here, I'm back. It's about 8:15 on Saturday, March 20th. I did wind up finishing Cherry Latch tonight, which I really think he might get some Oscar buzz next year, because that was a really, really good movie. Very, very interesting. I have never seen Tom Holland go that far. And it was really, really good. If you have a chance, check it out. Definitely adult. It does deal with the opioid crisis and some other issues, but it was really, really good. Very, very, very well done. So I do want to do some filming today. I do want to work out. This week was like just not, it just was a weird week scheduling wise because we had parent teacher conferences and a couple of other things popped up. So I do want to film about 3 videos, I think, just to sort of put myself in like a good place for April, when I'm going to film a couple of videos over my break. So I'm just trying to get myself a little bit ahead. And then I want to work out. I want to do a couple of other little things. I want to sort of revamp what I'm going to read this weekend, I think. I'm going to read some middle grade, but I do want to film some videos. I'm going to go do my Skillshare class, read my nonfiction book, which will probably take me a little bit. And after I probably read that, I'm probably going to go work out so I don't forget to do it. Normally I go to town, but Grandma's going to have food today and I don't want to be late. So I'm going to go do my Skillshare class, do my nonfiction reading, watch a little bit of Tom Holland interviews I've been putting off because I like to see the movie before I watch the interviews. I don't like to get spoiled. Sometimes Tom Holland especially is very, very chatty in his interviews and he gives away so many spoilers. But yeah, I'm going to go do my nonfiction reading, work out, and then I'll check in with you guys when I'm done filming, which might take me a while. But yeah, touch you guys in a bit. Bye. Right here, I was planning on filming today, and I think I still might film like later on, but we're doing a bunch of construction, and every single time I go to film, they use like the power drill, and it sounds horrible. If you hear it in the background, yeah, I do apologize. But I think I'm just gonna read for the rest of the day and just try to not watch anything super imperative because I really, really can't hear anything. But I wound up reading about 50 pages of Cinder and Sparrows, but it basically follows this girl named Zita, and she is summoned to this mansion where she is the inheritance of it, and her family was witches. She knew nothing about this. She was an orphan, and she's kind of stuck, kind of thrust into this world, and she's kind of dealing with a lead character who is a witch who doesn't think much of her, and that's really all that I've read so far, but it's about 50 pages, definitely a quicker read, very, very fantasy heavy. It's been a bit since I've read like a witch story. It's been a bit, but I tend to love witch stories. Like witches are some of my favorite characters, and I just always tend to put those books off until Halloween, and then I can never read them all. So I'm happy that I'm picking this up now. It's definitely a really, really good autumnal read because it's very, very fall themed, but I'm gonna read a little bit more, and when I get up to page 100, I'll give you guys an update. Bye. Here I'm just checking back in. I did wind up reading up to page about 105 in Cinders and Sparrows by Stephen Bachman. This is definitely a typical fantasy middle grade series, but it does have a school element. It does have a lot of mystery. It does have a lot about witchcraft. I sort of like characters that are sort of thrown into a world that they don't know and the audience doesn't know, because I always think like the audience and the character are sort of on the same exact page. There's a lot of stuff happening. It's a fun world. There's a lot of fun side characters that I'm really enjoying. There's a potential mentor-mentee relationship, which is good because I have a book prompt that I need that for in my Adventures Reading Challenge. But yeah, I will check with you guys. I'm definitely reading it quickly. The font in this book is so big, so I'm really reading it rather quickly. So I am going to read a little bit more. I'll read another 50 pages, and then I'll check in with you guys. I was hoping to film today, but I don't think it's going to happen just because there's so much background noise. You can probably still hear it in the background. But yeah, so I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Here, it's about 4:43. I am going to take a little bit of a break between Cinder and Sparrows. I have been watching a few Tom Holland movies, and I have a book written by his dad, so I want to kind of read that, and I'm probably going to focus on this more maybe tomorrow. I do want to finish it for the OwlCrate Readathon. I might actually just read it like a little bit later, but I do want to take a little bit of a reading break, and when I go back to, and when I'm done reading my Tom Holland book, I will give you guys a quick update. And this is supposed to be an OwlCrate Readathon, but I do want to read that, and I'm in the mood for a little bit of a break. So I'm going to go read a little bit of that book, and when I make a little bit of reading progress, I will update you guys. Bye. Right here, I'm back. Sorry I didn't film a lot yesterday. There was a lot of construction happening, and like the background noise was really, really frustrating to film with. So I went up reading about 64 pages in Eclipsed by Dominic Collin, Tom Holland's dad. I really like this book. It's very, very fun. I don't know if you could get it in the US. I think you can, but I got this from the UK because it was signed by him. But it basically follows both their journeys. He is a comedian. Tom, obviously, is Spider-Man. And I'm just finding it really interesting seeing the story from his point of view. I think it's really interesting, and you know, the foreword was done by Tom Holland. I think it's a fun read. I do really want to make some progress on Cinder and Shadows today. I am on page 140. I am going to take this with me as I'm running errands with my mom and hope to make some progress. But yeah, I did really like this one. I just felt like I wanted, since I was watching a few Tom Holland movies, I wanted to read a little bit of that. I'm going to make this my priority. I am going to go do actually, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to film the 2 videos I wanted to go film, and then if I still have time before I have to head to yoga, I will do my nonfiction reading for the day, which I'm actually getting good at. I'm making my way through Atomic Habits, which is really, really good. I'm trying to get better at habit formation and habit tracking and all that other stuff, so really excited about that. I have that to do later, but I'm going to go finish doing my 2 YouTube videos I was going to film yesterday, but the construction put me off, so I will see you guys in a little bit. Bye. Right here, I'm back. So I did actually wind up finishing 2 of my videos. I wound up filming my spring reading tag and also my part 1 of my March reading wrap-up, which took a bit of time. So I'm going to actually go get ready to go to yoga, and I will check in with you guys when I come home with my mom from shopping. We have some shopping we have to do today. But I am hoping to make a little bit more reading progress on Cinder and Sparrows today. If not finish it, come super close to finishing it. I also don't even know how long this reading vlog is right now, so I'm going to have to check in and see about that. But hope we have less construction today so I can actually film my reading, because it's so loud when they're here. Like, my backyard is where they're doing all the construction, and I'm like in the middle of the backyard. My room is like sort of in the middle of the backyard because I'm like the extension. So it's just very, very noisy when they're here. But our background will look great at the end. If you guys want to see a tour of it at the very, very end, I'll like put a video in if you guys are interested in that. But my parents are really, really excited. So, but yeah, and we also love spending time outside. As I said in that spring reading tag, I love reading outside. So hopefully come summer we can actually have a nice backyard where I can read. But I will see you guys when I'm back. Bye. Right here, I'm back so much later. It's like almost 4 o'clock, but I did wind up going shopping with my mom. I went to yoga. I went for a walk because it was a gorgeous day out. I was hoping to break out my bike, but as I said in some previous clips and throughout this reading vlog, they're doing a lot of construction in my house, so getting the bike out of the shed was going to be a little bit more problematic. But I am pleased to report that I did wind up getting up to page 253 in Cinders and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. It's definitely an interesting read. I'm really liking the fairy tale elements, and I'm liking the magic system that are coming. I also really like the side characters. I think it's a fun read. Definitely not like a new favorite, but one that I am enjoying, and I'm curious to see where the story kind of goes. But yeah, it's unique, and I'm enjoying it. I also wound up, when I was walking, went for like a good walk, I wound up listening to a couple of hours of To Sir Philip with Love by Julia Quinn, which is Eloise's book. I have about 4 hours left, but I'm listening to it on double speed, so I'll probably read it a little bit quicker. There was one element of this book that was not present for the majority of it, because Eloise kind of changed location. She wasn't where her family is, but something happened that now they're all back together, and I'm really, really liking that. I love the Bridgerton family, as I just love big families, and this family is just very, very fun, so really, really liking that. I literally just walked in the door, but I do have to do some errandy stuff. And then I'm going to work out because this week was bad for working out and stuff like that. So I want to at least work out so I can have a better schedule next week. But yeah, and then I'm going to hope to finish this today. This is my big goal, is to tackle the rest of this and then figure out my reading vlog for this week, because it's the last week before break. Also the last full week of March. It's also the end of the quarter in my planner. So I had some like reading goals that I wanted to try to tackle, and I still have quite a few books that I still need to read for that overall. So I need to like double check and sort of figure out what I want to do reading wise. So I'm going to sort of figure that stuff out, after I work out. And then I am going to come back and I will check in with you guys when I read, to 300 in this and give you guys my thoughts. But I'm really liking it. It's very, very quick pace. The font is really, really massive. And if I would have read this probably yesterday, I probably would have been done with it already, but I wanted to read a little bit more of Tom Holland. Or the book by Tom Holland's dad. So I'm going to go do my errands, go work out, and then when I'm back to reading, I'll give you guys another update. Bye. Hello, here I'm back. It's about 5:14. I did wind up reading another 50 pages in Cinder and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. It's definitely getting interesting. It kind of had a moment where the kind of the whole world and the whole book sort of turned on its head. I will definitely say the side characters in this book definitely sort of stole the show a little bit, and I didn't feel super connected to the main character. But this is the one thing I struggle sometimes with, like, witch novels. You hear that they're like witches, you hear that they have magic. So little things happen to, like, tell you, like, what kind of witches they are. So I think the magic system could have used a little bit of development in here, other than being a little bit more vague. But at the end, it did sort of reveal why that was the case. So I think the magic system in this could have used, like, a little bit of work just to sort of develop it. And the main character just wasn't my favorite. But I am intrigued to see how it ends. So I'm going to wrap it up. And when I get to the very end, I will come in and wrap up this reading vlog. Bye. Friends, Lori here. I did want to finishing Cinder and Sparrows by Stefan Bachman. I wound up liking this book. I'd probably give it like 3 stars. I found the story overall to be fun. I like the characters. I like the side. I like the characters. I didn't love them. I didn't feel super connected to them. But I like the characters. I thought the world was fun. I like stories that have to do with witchcraft. I wish the witchcraft had been developed a little bit more. But overall, it was a fun read. Also, for the OwlCrate Readathon, the first book I finished was Goddess in the Machine by Laura Beth Johnson. I really did like this one. I wound up giving up this one 4 stars. It's kind of like a science fiction story with some fun elements. And I wound up giving this one 4 stars. And then the last book I read in this reading vlog was The World's Greatest Detective by Caroline Carlson, which is probably my second favorite. Overall, these two were really, really fun. And a little bit different, and I really like them. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me during this reading vlog. And I will see you guys for my next one. Let me know what are some books you read recently in the comments, and if you like them, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.